If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. I promise you, who's ever coming in is not going to, you don't need an AR-15.
Now, I realize that the president said you should take your double-barrel shotgun and put a warning blast out the window.
2, he required 2 blasts.
And I am so excited to use that in court someday.
Tom, let's break down some videos. We got 3 of them that we want to look at, discuss, and find out who did the most right or the most wrong in their, let's call it, defensive gun use. First one looks like it happened in Puerto Rico. The sound, Spanish-speaking folks fighting over something. And it escalates and escalates and escalates until now you see the guy at the back of the truck. Guy in the red takes a swing, guy in the blue pulls out his gun and starts shooting. And as we look at this, I don't know where I'd go with this one. Is it bringing a gun to a fist fight, or is this guy, was he in the right, pulling out his gun? He gets one punch. He gets punched once in the head, pulls out a gun, and I think we got at least 4 shots.
I don't mind at all personally that he pulls out a firearm in self-defense after the other guy swings at him. But after he pulls out the firearm, the other guy backs away. Now, I don't know if he backed away in response to the firearm because he saw it, or if he just went in for a couple punches, then backed away. What I don't like is, okay, they're separated by a couple feet, maybe a yard. I now have my gun up, and the other guy's not advancing on me. Now it's time to mag dump.
Right, there's a lot of shots, and even some shots down.
I don't know. Yeah, it did not look good, but I'm okay with it up until the point where he starts shooting. And the reason why I say that is because keep in mind, in most states, you're not allowed to just pull out a firearm and point it at someone, right? So here in Wisconsin, for instance, that's a misdemeanor at a minimum, intentionally point a firearm at another person, unless you're privileged to do so for specific reasons. The same holds true in other states, and many states, even if they don't have a specific charge like that, there's some sort of catch-all charge, whether it's disorderly conduct while armed, whether it's recklessly endangering safety, you name it, they can be either misdemeanors or felonies. So, and the other thing I'll throw in there too is anytime you pull out a firearm, even if you don't point it at the other person, even if you have it a low ready or something else like that, we all know exactly.
You put that gun right in my face.
He stuck it in my mouth, right?
Yep.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's what is going to be the story. If you were pulling out your firearm, prepare for every witness in a 3-block radius to say he pointed it at them. And that's not fair. That is the truth.
And in this case too, we don't get all the detail from the video. The video helps a lot, but we don't get all the detail. Did he stop shooting when the threat stopped? That's another thing that prosecutors, that investigators are going to look at. Which round stopped the threat, and then were any more rounds fired afterwards? You're going to be responsible for those as well.
Right. But of course, here the problem is it looks like the mere presence of the firearm, which we know according to FBI and other national studies, simply producing a firearm, it's greater than 90% chance that will end the kinetic encounter. It will end the violent attack.
Right.
So that's pretty par for the course that I pull out a firearm, someone sees it, and I say this both as an ex-state prosecutor as well as a criminal defense attorney. This is what I see routinely. Good guy pulls out gun, bad guy runs away or disengages. I mean, they run away.
Right.
It's the exceptional situation where they don't.
Well, let's take a look at one of those exceptional situations, and we'll go back to road rage in America. Here we got a guy standing outside his car, shouting, angry, coming forward to, assumingly, he's going to attack the guy who's sitting in his car. And there a guy pulls out a gun, and you see him, he's pointing the gun, get back, get back, get back. Right there, he fires a warning shot, fires a shot in the air. First, I want to know where that thing's coming down. Warning shots, we've talked about them a lot. The guy standing on the street doesn't seem to even flinch, and then gives him this warning, hey, you better watch out, I got family, and for those folks who don't know, that can be a reference to him being involved in some sort of gang activity. His gang is his family. What's going on with this case right here when you're looking at this video and the guy's got the gun out to stop the bad guy approaching, assuming,
Right.
I'm
Those are
just
the rules,
assuming. Yeah.
right.
And then fires a shot in the air, and the other guy doesn't leave the scene. He's still out there. He wants some more of that.
Right, and that's very scary now. If I'm the guy in the car and and someone's not responding as I would prefer they would to a warning shot. Something to know about warning shots. So every single time we're in some sort of defensive force use encounter, we're actually in two encounters at the same time. There's the kinetic encounter and there's the legal encounter. And the legal encounter, I mean, they obviously overlap quite a bit. Now the kinetic encounter will end, right? As soon as the parties break up, someone runs away, whatever else the case may be, that's the end of the kinetic encounter. But now we're into the legal encounter. The thing with warning shots is they are very, very effective at two things, generally speaking. Maybe not this time, but generally speaking. They end the kinetic encounter and they will put you in jail.
Right.
And that's, it doesn't matter if you shoot up in the air, down at the ground. This is what I see time and time and time again. Now, I realize that the president said you should take your double-barrel shotgun and put a warning blast out the window.
He required 2 blasts.
And I am so excited to use that in court someday.
Yes.
But it doesn't change the fact that it ends one encounter, you win one and lose the other.
Right.
Is effectively what happens because prosecutors, and I'm not defending this, I'm just saying this is what it is. Prosecutors will hit you up for recklessly endangering safety, disorderly conduct while armed. Sometimes there's discharge statutes you have to be aware of. Are you within 100 feet of an occupied home or dwelling? I mean, there's any number, are you within 1,000 feet of a school, if you're discharging firearms? I mean, states have all sorts of different laws that will regulate the discharge of firearms, and you'd be surprised, and again, I'm not defending this, but you would be surprised that even if you think I'm doing the safe thing and I'm going to discharge directly down, I'm on grass, earth, I'm not discharging down into, I have seen people discharge warning shots down at concrete sidewalks where the bullet splatters and actually can mess up some people's legs.
Maybe injure themselves.
I have seen these things happen, okay? So, but I've also seen cases where people warning shot into like a lawn or something like that, their own lawn, and they still get criminally charged.
Yeah, because you can't just go around shooting a gun for what the police would say as no reason. And
right.
And in this case, it doesn't look like imminent deadly threat. I mean, the gun out the window is kind of holding the bad guy at bay. He's not advancing, but he still wants to, make a big show of how tough he is.
Right.
So now we got the driver holding the gun out the window, and the bad guy has stopped. Can the driver get out of there? Typically, we tell people if you're going to shoot, shoot. If you're going to drive, drive. Don't try to shoot and drive. I would much rather see the good guy, now that he's got the bad guy stopped, put the gun down and drive away. Just, get away from the scene if he could.
Two things. Number one, people might be confused about why we're calling one guy good and the other one bad.
Right.
I'm calling, and I agree with how you aligned them. I'm calling the bad guy bad as the one who gets out of the car and advances on the other driver.
Yeah, challenging him to a fight.
That's not good. That immediately colors you as being the bad guy. So that's number one. Number two, if someone does that to you, that's a gift. Drive away.
Right.
Get out of there,
Yeah.
right? Especially when you've got, it looks like a pretty heavily trafficked road. You can blend and disappear, hopefully, pretty quickly.
Yep.
And, that's where, if you want to, call 911, drive to a police station. If he's following you, take that as the gift that it is.
Yeah, and there are some tactics people should use. Never at the stop sign pull up so close that you can't drive your car away into another lane or something like that. Lots of things that people might comment on this video. But yeah, the primary aggressor gets out of his car and advances. Drive away. Just be done with it. Don't be firing a shot in the air. And that speaks to situational awareness. And this next video, let's talk about situational awareness here, because we've got two guys arguing. Neither of them seem to notice that there's already police officers on the scene just out of the camera. The camera kind of pans over and catches them a little bit. There's already cops right there, and they're arguing, jaw-jacking back and forth, going forward. Now the motorcycle guy reaches for something. He's in the saddlebag of the motorcycle. He reaches for something, and at the same time, the door opens and the car driver, the SUV driver, comes out with gun drawn, pointing at the motorcycle guy. And that's when we hear police start saying, police, drop your gun, stop. And as the video goes on, we see the guy following all the police instructions the way he should. I don't really know what happened with motorcycle guy or what he was reaching for. I thought I saw a still of that video with the motorcycle guy with the gun in his hand, but I can't be sure about that. But in that situation, guy's reaching for something in the saddlebag, other guy comes out of the car with a gun. What are we looking at there?
Well, this actually also dovetails nicely with your last point, because there's only one person who seemingly can get out. That's the motorcycle guy. Motorcycle guy is the only guy who looks like he's the one that's engaging the situation, because the other guy looks like he's trapped in a line of traffic.
And the motorcycle guy is off his motorcycle and approaching the vehicle.
Right. So that immediately is going to color a prosecutor's thinking as to who's engaging with whom where. Now, where does that all change? It changes when somebody pulls out a gun, because that's one of those anchor points that prosecutors will anchor on to say, oh, bad guy, guns, bad guy, right? And I'm 0% suggesting that that's fair or logical or anything, but I would not be surprised if that's what they wind up doing. Now, to that guy's point, who did produce what looks like a Glock to protect himself, because, hey, this lunatic, and I don't know what the backstory is, maybe they're both lunatics, maybe I got it wrong, but whatever. If I'm the guy in the SUV, and I'm driving, suddenly this motorcycle's next to me, and he's yelling obscenities about what he's going to do or whatnot, and I don't know if he did that here, but this is my example. Yeah. And suddenly he's popping open like his seat, and he's going in for something in his seat compartment, or he's going into his saddlebag. I don't think he's going to be giving me like a lollipop.
Right. He's not going to get a gift.
He's not going to give me a gift, and anything comes out of that, I'm probably not going to like. Usually most motorcyclists, speaking as a motorcyclist, most motorcyclists aren't carrying cell phones underneath their seat. I'm sure that there are some who are, but most of the time you got it on a lock on your handlebars, or something like that, or maybe a side bag, or more likely you've got it in some sort of jacket pocket or something like that. So going into the seat is a really scary situation, similar to if law enforcement is dealing with somebody who's acting psychotically aggressive and they start reaching into their waistband for something. It's just one of those high risk, oh crap moments. So I don't have a problem with the guy actually, because it looks like he can't drive away. It looks like he's trapped, and he's pulling out his firearm to basically stop that, and it stopped him, and now we've got to deal with the law enforcement fallout. So hopefully we've got the video here to clear the whole thing up, and hopefully you have some level-headed cops that understand the sequence of events. Now we're missing obviously the whole backstory.
Right, and there's stuff we couldn't see. You and I couldn't see what the motorcycle guy was getting out. The cops got to be sitting over there, two things got to be going through their head, because they're on scene and it looked like they were investigating a crash or something like that, but their lights were on and everything, and they were right there. And it's either got to be, that's weird, or now I got to do something about this. There's a guy with the gun out, and you see later on in the video, 7, 8 cops show up, even extra vehicles come in. I felt bad for the other passing motorists who were driving in between two guys pointing guns, cop pointing a gun from this way, coming out that direction. But if the officers saw motorcycle guy pulling a gun out of his handbag and then SUV guy pointing a gun at him, hopefully that all made it to the report. But at this point, we don't have any of that information.
So if I'm going to rank these 3 videos of what I liked, what I don't like, I'm going to put this last one that we just saw with the blue SUV, I'm going to put that one as I like that one the best. If I was the defense attorney and if I have to draft these in order of most defensible,
You're defending the guy in the SUV.
I'm defending the guy in the SUV. That's going at the top of the pack. Again, I'm missing the backstory of what happened before and after. I only see what I see on camera, but I think he made a reasonable call of here's what's going on, and I'm going to not wait for the guy to come up and start shooting, and I'm just trapped here on an unmovable X, right?
Right.
I think you can explain that tactically, you can explain it legally, you can explain that using every officer who comes on the stand, going through their officer training, when a perp goes for their waistband, you see the elbow go up, all that kind of stuff. I think that's something that, I'm not saying you're going to win that every single time, and every jury and prosecutor is going to be perfectly logical and reasonable, but I like that one the best.
And I like him getting out of the car. That's a death trap to be in that
Yes.
front seat. And as he opens the door, points the gun at him. My statement is I was going to the back of my car to get cover.
And that's a pretty cop move.
Yeah.
And he kind of had the cop look and haircut, and he looks like maybe carrying a G19. So I'm wondering if he doesn't pull out his HR-218 Leosa card, and suddenly this thing is going a very different direction. I don't know, but that's by far my favorite. Second place is the one at the stoplight, right? Where we've got the warning shot. I don't like the warning shot. I don't like the fact he didn't just drive away. Why are you busy yelling at each other? This is the situation where, yeah, the bad guy's the guy who got out of the car, but he may not be getting criminally charged with anything.
Right.
It's the guy who did the warning shot who we're just calling that guy the victim here. We don't know the backstory.
Yeah.
Or
He might have been the victim until he fired his gun in the air.
Yes, yes, yeah. But no, I mean, I don't like that. That's gonna end poorly for him 9 out of 10 times or more. And then obviously we've got the dispute where everything was fine. I was fine with it with the orange truck until he starts pulling the trigger. You can't. You pull out the gun. We're no longer engaged. You don't shoot.
Right.
Now you got a big problem because obviously he's within your reactionary gap at that point, right? But you already have the gun out and on him, and we know it's loaded. So yeah, you deal with the reactionary gap principles of 21 feet and so forth. But when we do that, we're talking about a holstered firearm, right? Here it's already out. So your reactionary gap is however fast you can pull the trigger if needs be. So at that point, what I would have wanted to see him do is yell stop, stop, while safely backing up.
Yeah, moving back around that truck to get some distance.
Get something between them. Get his wife or whoever is his friend who's with him, direct them back, something like that. That's what I would want to see. I don't want to see I pull out a gun, the other guy backs away, then I decide to shoot him, and then seemingly keep shooting him even when he's on the ground. Now, in fairness to him, we don't know if the other guy was maybe going for his own gun while he's on the ground.
And we can't see what the guy on the ground is doing.
We are missing facts about what happened there, but again, a prosecutor is going to argue, okay, A, you shouldn't have shot. Like, the crime is shot number one. At a minimum, that's a crime until he starts going for his own gun. But at that point, then you have this whole argument of, well, when he disengaged, did now he regain the right to self-defense at that point? Keep in mind, a robber tries to go rob a grocery store, right? And sticks a gun at the cashier's face. And the cashier pulls out his own gun. Robber says, I don't want anything to do with this, runs out of the store. If the cashier follows him and shoots at him, the cashier is the bad guy at that point.
He's the one causing that problem.
We're now in a separate legal encounter at that point. So this isn't the Wild West of round up the posse, we're going to go after them. This isn't spaghetti westerns. This isn't the 17th, 16th century England where villages and townspeople have to raise a hue and a cry to go round up the bandits and all that kind of stuff. You will be prosecuted if you initiate what will legally be termed as a new encounter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Tom. Always great insights, and I like looking at these videos with you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Did you know we have a secret gun giveaway going on right now you can enter for free? But it ends really soon. Just click the link in the description below to reveal which brand new gun you could win.